Everybody keeps telling me, you gotta move on from my family.
All right. Well, I am Grant from Screen Rant. It is great to see you again, Michael, and to talk about I'll Be Right There. This is such a charming and just very funny slice of life movie. What was it about this script that really sparked your interest to want to be a part of it?
Well, I mean, before the script, I knew who the cast was, so that was obviously very attractive for me. And then, like you say, we spend so much time trying to do these big projects, and this and that. You're working for this company now and that company and this. Every once in a while, you get a nice small script that really speaks about humanity and what everyday people have to go through, and those always attract me. And I've tried over the decades that I've been working to make sure that every once in a while I do an indie film, because I'm attracted to the underdog aspect of it all, especially in today's world. Somebody that they have no money, they're fighting to get good actors to help tell this story, stuff like that. And I just, and sometimes it doesn't have to blow me away, or even the character doesn't have to blow me away, but I do like the story or something else about it blows me away, and I want to be a part of it. So I do that as often as I can.
I love that, because indie films, like you say, I love that they're the underdog, and they often come out with little gems like this to really just deliver. And so in talking about your character, then I found that when I often talk about indie films with people, they have to really jump into the character right away because of the fast nature production of them. And I'm curious what you found was one of the big keys for you in sort of getting to the core of your character in this one with that quick schedule.
No, I don't feel that way at all. I don't have to jump into anything. I mean, I think when the script is good and when it speaks to you, and especially the nature of shooting this film, it was really relaxed. It was comfortable. It was about particularly my connection, Albert. And when you have Edie and you have Michael, and it's really about these two people trying to get to know each other, right? And I think, for me anyway, Albert having this kind of long-term crush on Edie's character, and I think it was really just kind of, it lent itself to me on camera trying to get to know Edie on camera. And I think that plays into the writing of the piece, and we have no time. It's fast, it's quick. It's not like we didn't have a bunch of rehearsal. We just kind of talked about stuff, and then we just started shooting. And so it kind of just lent itself to say, oh, I just have to be available. I just have to be, I have a good beat on the lines, and now I'm just going to throw the ball back to Edie once she throws it to me, and it kind of worked out that way.
And he is quite the underdog when it comes to Edie's character, in that, like you say, he's got a long-term crush, but he's walking into a situation that is maybe more than he expected. And I'm curious, that I love that how subtle that scene is, where she reveals she's dating two different people, a man and a woman, and Albert's just kind of like, okay, what do you think is actually going through his head when she tells him that, and he's trying to sit there and figure out how to respond?
Well, I mean, it's a shock, because again, they live in a small place, right? And again, just like the big films, right? That's kind of things that you expect in big towns, like New York City and Los Angeles and all this. But I think he has one line. I think there's a joke when he says, wow, because he had moved away, and he said, wow, if I had known something along these lines. I'm totally misquoting, but if I had known that dating was like this here, I would have returned a lot sooner, because I mean, she's seeing another woman, and he's just, I think he's a little flabbergasted. Because he's kind of a small town guy. He's never lived in the fast lane, and not that in today's world, that's not really the fast lane, but I think for the purposes of who he is, it kind of is, I think he's a very simple guy, and even to him, like not that it's mind shattering, but a woman who's dating a woman and is also dating a man is a bit shocking, especially since I think somewhere deep down in him, he was wondering if there was an opportunity for him. And then when you find out this and you're like, oh, I'm like 3 or 4 down the line of possibly getting something to happen. And so that I really, really love that idea, the situation that he found himself in.
It really is. And by the way, I think you almost quoted it exactly. So you were pretty, you've still got that character up in there. I like that. But I do love that scene a lot. And so without getting into spoilers, I am curious if you think there is a future for those characters, given sort of their final scene that they have in this film together.
I think so. I mean, script-wise, there was actually much more detail, and we kind of cut out certain things to leave it a little bit more ambiguous. But I think it was less ambiguous before. But I like this ending because, at least the ending for them, because it's not like, oh, no, I'm just going to jump into this. I think they're getting to know each other. And I thought that is much more in keeping with the style of the piece, because nothing is cut and dry. This is how it happened. This is definite. This is the good guy. This is the bad guy. This is the guy that gets the girl that gets the guy. It's kind of, it's that slice of life kind of feeling, but I think at the same time, I think it's pretty clear that whether or not they become a couple, that they are going to be in each other's lives.
I like that. There's a real playfulness to the ambiguity that, like you say, it really fits the overall nature of the piece and the relationship we do see of them throughout the film. So I like that. Right. And so a few of the people I've talked with so far for the film, they've mentioned the improv nature of the production. And I'm curious if you were allotted that opportunity with Edie in your scenes together and what it was like, going off book a little bit to explore that dynamic.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I mean. It's like you just so we didn't rehearse a whole lot. And Brendan, the whole idea was, whatever. It was like, just go, like we have the scene, have the structure, and we're just going to go. And I don't know if this is how Edie normally works, but she's so, it's like, sometimes when you're doing the scene and you mess up a line or you're not in the right place or whatever, or you're taking a pause that maybe you shouldn't be there, somebody yells cut, or you go, oh my God, I messed up or whatever. We never did that on this film. You just keep going. And you just, and a lot of times those moments are, if not gems, they're still like that idea that you're just living life, that you're just experiencing someone in an awkward moment, or how they're relating to the other person. So we did a lot of that. That happened a lot. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen a lot of times. And sometimes you just threw out a line around, and of course you're working with Edie Falco, so she's just, you hit the ball, she catches it and throws it right back at you. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and I think that's one of the things that, and I think if you watch this film, you'd probably think that it's happening all the time like that, and it might be, and I think that's the spontaneity that makes the film so interesting.
It really feels so natural the way everybody interacts with each other in this film, that I love how seamlessly it can go between the spontaneity and the writing. So that's kudos to you guys as well on that. I see I'm running low on time, so I did also want to ask, last time we spoke was for Mayor of Kingstown, and we've now arrived at the finale, and I am heartbroken by Kareem's death. And I'm curious, why do you think it is? I mean, obviously he's on the verge of termination, but why do you think it is that he sort of goes out into the yard and lets the ABs have at him the way he does?
Well, I think, obviously, for me, he's in jeopardy of losing all of the benefits that he's had that he's developed all this time, and so his family is in dire straits. And the scary part is that if he continues on, that he may jeopardize that. And the main thing, I think, is because his family's in dire straits because of him. Because he's so proud and happy that his daughter is getting the therapy that she needs, but he never did. And I don't think he ever will. And so the question is, can they get better if he's not getting better? You know what I mean? How can, she's being helped on one end, but being hindered on the other end by him. So if you take him out of the picture, and this is obviously, there's arguments like, oh no, he should, then now they're missing their father and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Of course, it's all true. But I think that's where, at least in my working, knowing that that's where we were going, and I don't in the show, because it's not Kareem's story, it's not his, but you don't get a lot of opportunity to kind of flesh that story out, so you just get I think I only have 2 to 4 scenes per episode to really work on this, and so I think the way we ended up doing it, to me, was pretty powerful.
I couldn't agree more, and I do hope that Hugh finds a way to sort of explore how Kareem's family goes, because I think it would be sort of a nice way to pay a legacy tribute to his passing and
right.
keep the feel alive. But in the meantime, I really look forward to getting the word out about I'll Be Right There. It's just such a sweet movie, and I think people are going to love it. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me again. I greatly appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Brent.
I feel guilty.
Maybe you feel guilty because you know what you want. Most people don't.